All right, so let's dive into this paper, The Specter of Underdetermination in Modern Cosmology.
Okay.
And it really tackles, like, this huge question of how much can we really know about the, like, universe's fundamental building blocks? You know,
Yeah.
you sent over some great material, and it seems like you're already pretty well versed in cosmology. So I think we can skip the kind of Cosmology 101
Right.
and get right to the heart of it.
Absolutely.
Our mission today, I think, is to try and understand this paper's central argument.
Yeah.
That while cosmology has made incredible strides, pinning down the, like, precise microphysical nature of things like dark matter, dark energy, and inflation might just be permanently out of reach.
Yeah.
At least with our current tools, right?
It's a very interesting concept, and it's especially considering the remarkable successes that cosmology has achieved.
For sure. Absolutely.
In recent decades.
So, I mean, the paper even starts by taking us back to this, like, Body-Whitrow debate of the 1950s, which was this heated discussion about whether cosmology could even be considered a real science.
Right. Right.
A real science.
Bondi was arguing yes, because it uses, rigorous scientific methods like observations and predictions.
It's based on, on empirical evidence and making testable predictions.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
But Whitrow was like, no, too much of it relies on, like, personal interpretation. And there wasn't a clear consensus.
Yeah, there's a lot of model dependence.
Right.
I think this debate, while it might seem historical, it actually mirrors some of the challenges we still face today.
I think so, too.
Even with our more advanced tools and models, we're still grappling with these kind of competing theories for inflation, dark matter, and dark energy.
Yeah.
And I think it highlights the inherent difficulty in trying to decipher the universe's fundamental nature.
Yeah, that makes sense.
We have these observations and we're trying to fit them into these theoretical frameworks, but there's always this question of,
is this the only way to explain it?
Totally.
Is there another, more fundamental picture that we're missing?
Yeah.
So it's a question that's been with cosmology for a long time.
Now, to be fair to the authors,
yeah,
the paper doesn't dwell on negativity.
No, not at all.
It acknowledges the undeniable triumphs of cosmology.
Absolutely.
And particularly this, like, incredibly successful CDM model.
Right.
Which is, like, it's basically the cornerstone of modern cosmology.
Yeah, it's our standard model of cosmology.
This model, for anyone who doesn't know, combines dark energy, dark matter, and ordinary matter to explain this vast array of observations.
Yes.
Including the cosmic microwave background and the large-scale structure of the universe.
And the fact that its predictions have been borne out by observations time and time again is really a testament to its robustness.
It really is.
It's like a scientific theory.
It's not even just that, right?
Yeah.
It's also made several novel predictions.
Yes.
That were later confirmed.
Yes, and that's
the
hallmark of a truly successful scientific theory.
Right.
You're not just explaining what we already know.
Yeah.
You're actually predicting something new that we can then go out and test.
Totally.
And that's exactly what CDM has done.
I mean,
for example, the cosmic microwave background radiation.
Right.
It predicted the existence of that.
Yes.
And also specific patterns within it.
Yep.
And then we went out and measured it, and it was there.
It was there.
Just as predicted.
Yeah.
And similarly, the accelerating expansion of the universe.
Right.
That was also predicted by CDM and later confirmed through observations of distant supernovae.
It's remarkable.
It is.
These confirmations.
Yeah.
So this success, like, understandably has fueled this, like, new ambition, I would say.
Yeah.
What some people are calling particle cosmology. And this is the idea of using cosmology as a tool to probe the very foundations of physics.
Yeah, it's like we've gone from describing the universe to trying to understand the fundamental particles and forces that make it up.
Yeah.
It's like, think of it as analogous to the evolution of thermodynamics and statistical mechanics.
Okay.
Initially, we had these general principles governing heat and energy and things like that. But then we dug deeper.
Yeah.
We wanted to understand the underlying mechanisms.
Okay.
The microphysics that was driving those principles.
Yeah.
And so similarly, in cosmology, we've gone from describing the universe's large-scale behavior to trying to understand the particles, the fields, and the forces that shape it at the most fundamental level.
Yeah, and I mean, we've already seen some pretty incredible successes on this front. Right?
Oh, absolutely.
Like, take Big Bang nucleosynthesis, for example.
Right.
It's our understanding of how, like, the light elements were formed in the early universe.
Exactly.
And it's a direct result of applying nuclear physics to the cosmological framework.
Right.
And now we're trying to do the same thing with inflation.
Yes.
Dark matter and dark energy. We're trying to figure out, like, what are their specific microphysical origins? What's actually going on there at that level?
And this is where the paper's central argument comes in. You know, there's this growing concern that we might be hitting some fundamental limit in our ability to probe these things. And the authors call this the specter of underdetermination.
Right.
Which basically means that, you know, we might be stuck measuring the effects of these entities. Like their energy density, their clustering patterns, their influence on the expansion of the universe, but without ever really grasping their fundamental nature. You know, it's like the analogy they use is trying to figure out the size of a molecule by observing Brownian motion, which is the random movement of particles suspended in a fluid. You can get some information from that, but it won't tell you the complete picture of the molecule structure.
It's just, it's just the overall effect that you're seeing.
Right, exactly.
And not you're not seeing
the individual atoms.
You need something.
You need something more powerful, like spectroscopy, to really see the detailed structure. And so the question is, do we have the equivalent of spectroscopy for cosmology? You know,
what would that even look like?
What would that look like? Can we actually peer into this microphysical world with the same level of clarity that we can with, you know, with atoms and molecules? You know, I think that's the crux of the issue.
So are we essentially saying that we're kind of stuck seeing the effects, the shadows cast by these entities? But the true nature of, like, the actors themselves remains elusive.
I think that's a very good way to put it.
It's kind of, it's a little unsettling.
It is. I mean, it's kind of humbling in a way to think that, you know, we can map the universe on a grand scale.
Well, on a grand scale,
But the finer details, the inner workings of its most fundamental components might be obscured from our view.
It's like we can see this magnificent tapestry. But we can't, like, discern the individual threads that are creating the pattern. It's kind of frustrating, I guess.
It is a bit frustrating. But it also emphasizes the need for creativity, for innovation. And maybe we need to completely rethink our methods.
Maybe we're using the wrong tools.
Maybe you're using the wrong tools.
And we need to come up with something completely different.
Exactly. We need to find new ways to probe the universe.
Absolutely.
New ways to ask questions. New ways to interpret the data.
So, I mean, this specter of underdetermination is a pretty significant hurdle. But, I mean, cosmology has overcome, you know, seemingly insurmountable challenges before.
It has a history of that, of overcoming these kinds of obstacles. So it's not hopeless. It just means we need to be.
We just got to be more clever.
More clever. More creative.
Maybe there's, like, a groundbreaking discovery waiting to happen. Like a new cosmological spectroscopy. That we just haven't even thought of yet.
That's right.
That could really, like, unearth all these, like, microphysical secrets.
Exactly. And that's what makes this field so exciting.
It is.
Is that there's always this potential for these really revolutionary breakthroughs.
It's a pretty incredible field to be in.
Absolutely. It's a privilege to be able to study these questions.
For sure.
And to try to, you know, push the boundaries of our knowledge.
It's really amazing.
It is.
I mean, so much of it is still unknown. And I think that's what's really captivating for people, right?
I think so.
Is that there's just so much more to discover.
There's always something new to learn.
It's really exciting.
It is. And I think this paper, it really captures that sense of wonder and excitement. And also the challenge of trying to understand the universe.
It really does.
At its deepest level.
So, I mean, this paper is a real gem, I think.
It is. It's a very thought-provoking paper.
Absolutely.
And this idea of a cosmological spectroscopy, it's enticing. But it also brings us to, like, the heart of the paper's argument, which is, you know, even if we discover new tools, will they really unveil the universe's microphysical secrets?
Right.
Like, are there some things that are just inherently unknowable?
Yeah.
You know, the authors, they delve deeper into this by drawing parallels to the state of physics in the early 20th century.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Before the advent of quantum mechanics. You know, back then, the very notion of understanding the microscopic realm seemed impossible.
I mean, it's hard to imagine now, but yeah.
Right, exactly.
I mean, we take it for granted.
Back then, many people believed that our knowledge would forever be limited to the macroscopic world, the world of, you know, everyday objects.
Yeah, the things we can see.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But then came these groundbreaking tools like spectroscopy, which revolutionized our understanding of the atomic world.
Right, it really did. I mean, spectroscopy provided this incredible wealth of data.
Yeah.
It was like a fingerprint for different elements. It allowed us to really dissect the structure of matter in unprecedented detail.
Absolutely.
And so this leads to the question the authors pose, which is, what would be the equivalent of spectroscopy for cosmology?
Yeah, that's a big question.
What tool or technique could give us that same level of insight into the microphysical nature of dark matter, dark energy, and inflation?
It really is a question that, like, sparks the imagination.
It does, doesn't it?
Yeah, what could possibly allow us to see those things?
Right.
Like, to probe the extreme energies of the early universe.
Yeah.
Or, like, the vast cosmic distances across which dark energy operates.
Right.
And finally reveal the building blocks of these, like, enigmatic phenomena.
Yeah, the authors.
It's a wonderful mystery.
They explore a few possibilities.
Okay.
But
yeah.
But they acknowledge that it's an immensely difficult task.
For sure.
For instance, with inflation, we're trying to understand processes that occurred at energies far beyond anything we can replicate in a lab.
Right.
It's like trying to study a supernova explosion by lighting a match.
It's just it's not even close. Yeah.
The scales are just incomparable.
Totally.
And then you have dark energy,
right,
which is perhaps the most perplexing of all.
I mean, it's almost like
it really is.
It's everywhere but nowhere.
Yeah, its effects are only discernible on scales larger than the observable universe.
It's like, yeah, we can't.
So it's like trying to study a giant engine.
Okay.
By only examining a tiny fraction of its gears.
I like that.
You know?
That's a good analogy.
How can we possibly hope to comprehend the workings of something so vast and elusive?
Yeah, and then even with dark matter,
which we can, like, study through cosmological observations and particle physics experiments, our efforts are hampered by what's known as the streetlight effect. We tend to, like,
streetlight effect,
focus our search on the types of dark matter particles that we know how to detect, even though those might not be the most likely candidates.
Right. It's like
literally searching for your lost keys only under the streetlight.
Exactly.
Because that's where the light is.
Because that's where you can see, even though you might have dropped them somewhere else entirely.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of a funny analogy, but it's so true.
It's a very apt analogy because it really highlights this bias that we have in our searches.
Absolutely.
We tend to look
where the light is
for what we know how to find rather than what might actually be there.
Yeah, I mean it's a very human thing to do.
It is.
Right. I mean it's natural to go where you can see.
Right. And I think
but maybe we need to
be aware of that bias.
Yeah, we need to be more aware of it.
And try
and maybe think outside the streetlight a little bit.
Exactly. Think outside the streetlight.
Yeah.
You know, be more creative in our approaches.
So we find ourselves caught in this really interesting paradox.
Yeah.
The incredible success of cosmology in explaining the universe's, like, large-scale structure and evolution.
Right.
Juxtaposed with this persistent mystery surrounding the fundamental nature of its most dominant components.
Yes.
We've mapped the cosmos. But the underlying script remains undeciphered.
That's a very poetic way to put it.
Yeah.
I like that.
It's kind of how I feel about it. Yeah.
It's like we have this beautiful book.
Yeah.
But we can't read the language. It's written in...
And it's frustrating.
It is frustrating.
Because you want to know what it says.
Exactly. We want to know the story.
You want to know the story.
That it's telling.
Yeah.
And this is where I think the paper takes a really interesting turn towards the philosophical.
All right.
It suggests that we might need to reconsider our approach.
Okay.
You know?
Be open to new ideas.
Be open to radically new ideas.
Yeah.
Perhaps even paradigms that could fundamentally shift our understanding of the universe.
Like, are we even asking the right questions?
Exactly.
Are we thinking about it in the right way?
Yeah, maybe our current tools and frameworks are just inadequate for the task at hand.
Yeah, it's like searching for a radio signal using a telescope.
Exactly. The instrument itself might be perfectly functional.
Yeah.
But it's just fundamentally unsuited for the task.
Yeah, we're trying to see something.
We need a different kind of instrument.
That we can't see with this instrument.
Yeah, we need a cosmological spectroscopy that can reveal hidden dimensions.
Yeah.
Or unveil the true nature of space and time.
Right.
Something that goes beyond our current conceptions.
Yeah, it's a big ask, I think.
It is.
But it's an exciting one.
It is exciting.
Yeah.
And I think the paper also subtly suggests that we might need to reevaluate the role of what we call non-empirical criteria in assessing cosmological models. Things like, parsimony, theoretical elegance, These are criteria that are not directly based on observations.
Okay, so not purely data-driven.
Not purely data-driven.
Okay.
But they can still be very important.
In what way?
Well, because when you're faced with underdetermination, where multiple theories can fit the available data, these criteria can help us kind of refine our options, guide us towards the most promising avenues of investigation.
Okay, so it's about looking beyond just the raw data.
Yes.
And considering like the overall explanatory power and coherence of a theory.
Exactly.
Okay, so it's not just about what the data says.
Right.
It's about how well the theory explains it.
It's about how well the theory explains it and how elegant and parsimonious it is. It's kind of like judging a work of art.
Okay.
You don't just assess it based on its technical execution. You also consider its aesthetic appeal, its emotional impact, its ability to resonate with you on a deeper level. And I think there's something similar going on in cosmology.
So, I mean, this brings to mind this concept of effective field theory. Yes. Which the paper discusses as a potential tool for navigating these complexities.
Absolutely.
Of microphysical modeling. It sounds like
powerful framework.
It sounds like a way to like deal with the limitations we've been talking about.
Yes. Right.
To make progress. Even without a complete picture of the underlying microphysics.
Exactly.
So rather than like striving to construct like a complete
a complete unified theory.
Unified theory of everything.
Of everything, yeah.
We focus on building models that are effective at describing specific phenomena.
Within a particular range of energies.
Right.
Yes.
So we
acknowledge the limitations of our current understanding. Okay. And we focus on what we can reliably model.
Yeah, so it's kind of like acknowledging the limitations of our current maps.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And instead focusing on charting the territories that are accessible to us.
Exactly.
With the hope that
eventually those explorations will lead us to a more comprehensive understanding
of the whole thing.
Of the entire landscape.
Yeah. We accept the fog.
We accept the fog.
But we keep pushing forward.
Yes.
Mapping what we can until the fog clears.
That's a very nice way to put it.
Yeah, I mean it's kind of a hopeful way to look at it.
It is.
Right?
It is.
Rather than like getting discouraged by the fog.
We say, okay, there's fog here.
Yeah.
But let's see.
Let's map out what we can.
Map out. And maybe that will give us some clues as to how to deal with the fog.
Exactly.
To eventually lift it.
Maybe the map itself will tell us how to get rid of the fog.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So effective field theory is a very promising approach.
It sounds like it.
But the paper does emphasize that it's not a panacea. Well, it still requires to make certain assumptions about the fundamental building blocks
Yeah.
and symmetries of the universe.
Okay, so it's not a magic bullet.
It's not a magic bullet.
Okay.
It's a tool.
Right.
But it's a tool that has limitations.
Yeah. And even within this framework,
Yes.
this underdetermination can still persist.
Absolutely.
Right. It can. We might be able to narrow down the possibilities.
Right.
But we might not be able to completely eliminate them.
Exactly.
So even with this powerful tool,
Yeah.
we're still confronted with this possibility
Yeah.
that multiple equally valid descriptions of the universe exist.
At the microphysical level.
Yeah.
Yes.
The fog might thin,
The fog might thin.
but it might not completely disappear.
Exactly.
So it kind of brings us back to that fundamental question, right?
It does.
It's like, will we ever definitively determine the true nature of dark matter, dark energy, and inflation?
Right.
Or are we destined to forever grapple with a multitude of possibilities,
Yeah.
each with its own strengths and weaknesses,
Yeah.
but none offering like a complete and satisfying picture?
That's the big question.
It's a daunting question,
It is.
but it's also kind of an exhilarating one.
It is exhilarating.
Yeah.
Because it means that
There's still so much to learn.
there's still so much to learn.
There's still so much to discover.
And
Yeah.
you know, the journey of discovery is what makes this field so exciting.
Yeah.
You know, we may never have all the answers,
Right.
but the pursuit of those answers is what drives us.
Yeah, I think that's a good place to leave it for now.
I agree.
Yeah, this journey into the specter of underdetermination has been a fascinating exploration.
Yes.
We've wrestled with these like fundamental questions about
Yeah.
the limits of knowledge, the nature of scientific progress,
Right.
and just the awe-inspiring complexity of the cosmos.
And it's left us with I think, a deeper appreciation
For sure.
for both the remarkable achievements
Yeah.
and the inherent limitations
Of modern cosmology.
of modern cosmology. Yeah.
We've celebrated the triumphs while acknowledging this vast unknown.
That still lies before us.
Right, and I think most importantly, it's left us with this sense of excitement
Yeah.
for the discoveries yet to come.
For the discoveries yet to come. Yeah.
As we continue to refine our tools,
Yeah.
push the boundaries of our understanding,
Mm-hmm.
and explore these new avenues of inquiry.
Absolutely.
Who knows what revolutionary breakthroughs might await us?
Right.
What new
What's
cosmological spectroscopy
Cosmological spectroscopy
might emerge?
might emerge to illuminate
Yeah.
the hidden depths of reality.
I think it, you know,
Yeah.
I think the most crucial takeaway
Yeah.
is that the journey itself,
The pursuit of knowledge.
the pursuit of knowledge,
Yeah.
is as valuable as the destination.
Yeah. I think that's a really important point.
I agree.
Yeah.
I think,
It's not just about the answers.
it's not just about the answers. It's about
about the questions.
asking the questions.
Asking the question.
Yeah, and the process of trying to find the answers.
So exactly.
I mean, it really makes you wonder, are there like inherent limits to what we can know about the universe?
It's a profound question.
Yeah.
And the paper doesn't shy away from it.
Right.
In fact, it goes a step further.
Okay.
It hints at some potential paths forward,
Okay.
even in the face of this specter of underdetermination.
So it's like they're saying, okay, here's the challenge,
Yeah.
but don't despair.
Don't give up.
There might be ways to overcome it.
There might be ways to get around it.
Yeah.
One avenue they highlight is the potential for inconsistencies
Okay.
within our current models to act as guides.
Okay.
You know, for instance, they mention these tensions within the SCDM model,
Okay.
where predictions based on the early universe don't quite align with observations of the universe's later evolution.
You're talking about like the Hubble tension
Exactly.
and the S8 tension, right?
Yes, those are prime examples.
Where we get different values for the universe's expansion rate, depending on whether we're looking at the early universe
Right.
or the late universe.
Exactly.
And where like the clustering of matter on large scales
Yes.
doesn't perfectly match predictions.
Right.
Right.
And these tensions, while they're certainly perplexing,
Yeah, they're head scratchers.
they are head scratchers.
Yeah.
But they might actually be signposts
Right.
pointing toward a deeper, more complete picture.
Interesting.
You know, they could be cracks in the foundation,
Okay.
suggesting that our current understanding is incomplete
Okay.
and hinting at modifications to the SCDM model.
Right.
That might reveal the true nature of dark matter, dark energy, or inflation.
It's like finding a discrepancy in a map
Yeah.
that leads you to realize that there's a whole uncharted island
Exactly.
you hadn't noticed before.
You missed it.
Yeah.
It was right there in front of you.
These inconsistencies,
Yeah.
rather than being like setbacks,
Right.
become like clues
Yeah.
that guide us
Yeah.
toward new discoveries.
New discoveries, exactly.
That's a really good way to look at it.
I think so too.
Yeah.
And it highlights this crucial point
What's that?
that progress in cosmology
Yeah.
might not always come from increasingly precise measurements alone.
Okay.
Sometimes it comes from identifying and resolving these fundamental tensions from questioning the assumptions that underpin our current understanding.
So even if we're limited in our ability to directly probe the microphysics,
Right.
these large-scale inconsistencies can act as like breadcrumbs.
They can, yeah.
Right.
They can leading us
toward the right theoretical framework.
to the right path. Yeah.
Really. We might not be able to see the individual threads of the tapestry,
Right.
but we can see where the patterns don't quite match up.
Yes.
And that gives us clues
It gives us clues
about the underlying structure.
structure.
That's like a puzzle, right?
It is a puzzle.
Where you might not have all the pieces,
Yeah.
but you can kind of see
You can see the shape
the shape of what it's supposed to be.
of what it's supposed to be.
And that helps you figure out where the missing pieces go.
Exactly. And I think the paper also revisits the importance of those non-empirical criteria that we talked about earlier.
Like parsimony, right?
Yeah, parsimony, the preference for simpler explanations.
Right.
And this becomes particularly relevant
Yeah.
when we're faced with underdetermination,
Well,
where you have multiple, complex theories that could fit the data.
Right. They all kind of work.
They all kind of work, yeah.
But they're all like really complicated and messy.
And in those cases, a simpler explanation, even if it doesn't have, complete empirical support, might actually be more likely to be true.
It's the idea that elegance and simplicity often point toward truth.
They often do.
Like that example we were talking about earlier, where the Higgs field, which we already know gives particles mass, might also be responsible
for inflation.
In the early universe.
It's a very beautiful idea.
Yeah, it ties together these two like seemingly disparate phenomena in this really elegant way.
It's very economical.
It's really cool.
It is. Yeah. And that conceptual elegance, that parsimony, it can be a really powerful compass when we're navigating this vast landscape of theoretical possibilities.
Like, are we on the right track?
Are we on the right track? Yeah. And it's about seeking a theory. Yeah.
That's not just empirically adequate, but also intellectually satisfying.
Okay.
One that resonates with our deeper understanding of how the universe works.
It's like appreciating a beautifully crafted poem.
Yes.
Right. That's a good analogy.
It's not just the words themselves.
Yeah.
It's the way they're arranged.
The way they're arranged, yeah.
The rhythm and flow.
The rhythm, the flow.
The underlying structure.
The structure, yeah.
That creates a sense of beauty and meaning.
Exactly. And I think there's something similar in cosmology.
It reminds me of how like certain scientific theories, like Einstein's theory of relativity, possess this like inherent beauty. Right?
A simplicity.
A simplicity that seems to hint
at a deeper truth.
Yeah. They're not just like equations on a page. They're elegant expressions of the universe's like underlying principles.
Yeah, they're telling us something deep about the way the universe works. And this pursuit of a beautiful, elegant explanation might be what ultimately leads us to a more complete understanding of the microphysical underpinnings of the universe.
So it's not just about
not just about crunching numbers.
Right.
And fitting data points.
It's about more than that.
It's about finding that underlying coherence.
Right.
That sense of rightness.
Yeah.
That signifies a truly profound understanding.
But I mean, even with all these tools at our disposal, right?
Yes.
Increasingly precise observations, effective field theories, and these non-empirical criteria, the specter of underdetermination still looms large.
It does.
It's a sobering reminder of, like, the profound mystery at the heart of cosmology.
At the heart of it all, yeah.
We might never have absolute certainty
Right.
about the true nature of dark matter, dark energy.
Or inflation.
Or inflation.
Yeah.
It's a humbling thought.
It is a humbling thought, but maybe
that's
part of what makes it so captivating, right?
maybe that's part of the allure.
The journey of discovery.
The journey, yeah.
The constant questioning. The search for deeper meaning.
The search for meaning, yeah.
That's what drives us forward.
That's what keeps us going.
You know?
Yeah.
The universe might hold its secrets close.
It might.
But the very act of seeking those secrets,
yes.
of grappling with the unknown.
That grappling.
It's a profound and rewarding endeavor.
It is.
This deep dive into the specter of underdetermination has been
it's been a fascinating
exploration.
Yeah.
We've wrestled with fundamental questions about the limits of knowledge.
About the limits of knowledge?
Yeah.
The nature of scientific progress, and just the awe-inspiring complexity of the cosmos.
And the awe-inspiring complexity of the cosmos, yeah.
And it's left us, I think, with a deeper appreciation.
Yeah.
For both the remarkable achievements. And the inherent limitations.
And the limitations, yeah.
Of modern cosmology.
Yeah.
We've celebrated the triumphs while acknowledging this vast unknown.
That still lies before us.
Yeah. And I think, most importantly, it's left us with this sense of excitement.
It has.
For the discoveries yet to come.
Yeah.
As we continue to refine our tools, push the boundaries of our understanding. And explore new avenues of inquiry. Who knows what revolutionary breakthroughs might await us?
What new
cosmological spectroscopy might emerge to illuminate these hidden depths of reality. I think the most crucial takeaway from all this is that the journey itself, the pursuit of knowledge, is as valuable as the destination. I think that's a really important point.
It is.
It's not just about the answers.
It's
about the question.
Asking the question. And the process of trying to find the answer.
Exactly, the process, the journey.
It's all part of it. And on that note, I think we'll wrap things up for today.
I think that's a good place to stop.
Yeah, it's been a real pleasure.
It's been a pleasure talking to you.
Diving into this paper with you.
And yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot for people to think about here.
Oh, absolutely.
And hopefully this has sparked some curiosity.
I hope so.
And maybe even inspired some future cosmologists.
That would be wonderful.
Out there.
Yeah.
So to all our listeners out there, thank you for joining us on this deep dive.
Thank you.
And keep exploring the universe.
Keep looking up.